Okay. I know they lost.
Are you watching yourself?
Does this
I just
make the
needed
show,
the
Jesse?
link. I needed the link.
I hope this makes the show.
Okay,
Hey, by the way, STP, it's
Sorry.
brought to you by Manscaped. Remember, you can get 20% off and free shipping if you use the promo code DANGLE. Right, hat guy?
Yeah. He's not here.
All right, Jesse, start the show.
STP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Okay, so just before we get started here, Knoxy and Cax have somebody you've never heard of on their show tomorrow. Someone you've never heard of in your entire life. Name is up-and-comer Cassie Campbell-Pascall.
Oh, who is that?
Yeah, I know, right? Just the most legendary women's hockey player ever. Insane. So Cassie Campbell-Pascall, Knoxy and Cax. And by the way, Jesse, you should tell the story about how you recorded Knoxy and Cax's Olympic recap episode, because it's pretty.
Yeah.
What happened?
Monday, it was just an awful waste of an afternoon. I got a flat tire on my way back from recording the SDP, and everybody was chirping me because Steve tweeted out what was happening, and they're like, "Oh, you can't change a flat tire," but I couldn't change the flat tire because it wasn't my car. It was
Right.
It's a rental vehicle, so they have to send their people to change it. So I was waiting in a parking lot, Harbor 60. I was down there. If anybody knows Toronto,
Big restaurant.
That's
Big
where I was able
restaurant.
to pull over and park there. And I waited there for 4.5 hours for a tow truck
Oh,
because they have a specific tow truck company that they have to send out because that's the one they work with their business. And and apparently they got sidetracked by a couple tows they had to. I think it was a police tow they had to go take care of, and then they weren't coming from downtown Toronto. They're coming from outside the burbs, and it took about 4.5 hours. So in the middle of that, I had to record Knoxy and Cax. And I did it from an iPad that we have for some of the production stuff. I recorded it from that iPad off of LTE tether with my phone. I was able to record it to the cloud and then have that in the back end, and then get it from the cloud when I got home.
it's amazing.
You
recorded
are
a car.
preposterous.
You did that show, which is a great show, from the parking lot.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad I know how to do it. And like in the future, there's some things I can tweak to make it even better because I didn't have the right settings set up even. So like I could do a great broadcast from a car.
You noticed that too, Steve, right? The things that he didn't get right.
Yeah, oh yeah. As I always do. You know?
Jesse, this is the thing about Jesse. He's just no attention to detail whatsoever.
No.
So I made the boys record this show a little bit later, and I promised you we're going to get into all the Leaf stuff and all that.
And then I made them record it even later.
But so I got to tell you what happened. So so I'm in my girlfriend's parents' cottage bedroom, recording the show right now because this is supposed to be like our midwinter vacation, and obviously we didn't go anywhere. So this is our couple of days where it's just supposed to be her and I, and her parents were taking my daughter to see my parents who live in the area, and it's a cottage road. So what happens yesterday? Well, it warms up, it rains, and then overnight it goes down to minus 15 Celsius, which I'm not sure if you're aware of what happens below 0 Celsius, but it turns water into ice. Crazy.
We love a good
for you.
flash freeze.
Yeah. So literally this morning, they take this big Nissan Pathfinder and they drive around the corner, and it basically becomes a curling rock. And at 1 kilometer an hour, they slide into a bank. And thankfully, it's not like a ditch or anything like that. But, they can't move. So we had to get my girlfriend's dad's name is Rob. We had to get Rob's neighbor, who's got an ATV with chains on it and a bunch of sand. And like I'm talking yards and yards of sand, and do the whole road. We were just with shovels out there, minus 15 in the whole road. And we're still not
You
sure
just did this?
Yeah, I just did this morning. Yeah. and so by the way, they do this. He and his neighbor, Harry, do this all the time, but they've never seen ice like this. Like, I'm not kidding, guys. If I had my skates, I could skate up and down the hill. It's 2 or 3
Oh,
inches
you
thick.
should try.
I know. I
That'd
just
make
don't
a
have
great
to.
video.
But anyway, we got the ATV, we got the sand with a little bit of melt in it, and did the whole thing. And anyway, long story short, about 15, 20 minutes ago, they were able to get the truck down one hill, up another, and out. And then they had to come back to the cottage, grab Everly in an ATV, and then drive her out to the main road where the Pathfinder.
Did she like the ATV?
She did. She was like, so Harry was wearing a blue hat, and she'd never met Harry before. And she's like, well, he's wearing a blue hat. And then,
Good job, Everly.
and then I wrapped her in my jacket because all of her stuff was in the car because it was packed and ready to go. So I had her wrapped in my jacket, and she was totally cool, like super chill. And then at the end of it, she goes, "Thank you, Harry." And that's it.
Aww.
So she's off and on her way. But it's been a wild morning here. So anyway, I just thought I'd tell you that. And I want to shout out anybody who listens to this show from a rural area, especially in the wintertime. This is normal. I'm just such a,
Oh yeah.
I remember thinking, I was just thinking as we were sanding this, how much bitching happens in the city. Like, it's like, people in Toronto get their sidewalks plowed for them. And if it's not done within 12 hours, which is completely ridiculous, you have people, and I have like a Facebook group for my neighborhood, and they're like, "We're going to contact so-and-so counselor from, I can't believe the plow." It's like, get out there and shovel it yourself, you lazy ass. Come on.
It's
I know some people can't.
The
I know some
parking
people
on your
can't.
street, Adam. The parking on your street, because there's a snowbank, so like a lot of the parking is taken up. And if Steve can't drive from Oshawa because the parking isn't just there.
Adam, do you pay property tax? And if so, why?
But if you compare
What
that
does it
to
go
somebody who
What
lives
do you get?
out in the rural areas, they have an impossible winter.
Do it yourself, man. Nobody's coming to help you. It was anyway. It was quite the morning, and I just
they
realized
don't have salt guy. They have chains and ATV guy.
That's right, and that's the thing, right? Like you realize, like, we're pretty pampered in the city. I can understand why people from not the city are like, you guys are idiots. So last
Idiots.
Idiots. Right,
I know the lingo.
So last couple nights, I think have been tough, and I think they've been tougher on nobody more so than Steve Dangle. The Montreal game and the corresponding LFR video. I mean, if only I could have told Tuesday morning, Steve Dangle what Tuesday night would be like. Maybe he wouldn't have freaked out so much. Maybe it would just have been an acceptance of, this is a team on a bit of a skid right now. So 2 games, 2 losses, 2 objectively not very good goalies. Like Montembeault is among the worst statistical goaltenders in the league this year. JF Berube was out of the NHL for like 4 or 5 years and has only made his way back.
First win since 2018, I think, or first pair of wins, I should say.
What happened?
So Montreal, they just didn't show up and sucked. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And yeah, it's going to happen. There's no reason for it to ever happen in that building against that team. No reason ever. They're in last place right now. Even on a hot streak, they're on a last place hot streak. And when Sheldon Keefe after the game was like, "Oh yeah, it's a wake up call," I was like, "Oh, they're in trouble. They're in such deep trouble." That was the maniacal laughing, because you should never need a wake up call under any circumstance for the Montreal Canadiens. Under any. Which category would you like to select? Longest rival, divisional rival, knocked you out in the playoffs several months ago. They're in last place. Guys, get a clue. Get a clue in a heartbeat. That's all this fan base is asking. Well, on paper, gives a shit on paper. On the ice, they way too often don't look like they have a care in the world or a clue. Then against Columbus, obviously they were much better. I thought it was funny. I was rewatching my LFR video this morning, and I criticized the Leafs for not having an attention to detail after saying that the shots were 32-20, or sorry, were 32-30, when in fact they were 32-20. They were doing even better. So I didn't have an attention to detail. But they make these mistakes that ruin their good efforts. Right. So to me, it was two different kinds of bad. And for everyone who's just like, oh, the goaltending's bad. Goalies are on your team. Every team has a goalie. They ice one, sometimes two. And in a very notable game a couple of years ago, sometimes they ice three.
By the way, we'll get to that anniversary in a little bit.
Goalies are part of your team.
Goalies are allowed.
Please
That's a narrative I've been trying to get out there this year. Is you're allowed to play a goalie really well, and he's allowed to stop all the shots. It's a part of your strategy. It can happen.
I'm begging on my hands and knees for people to stop. Like,
also, I somebody tweeted me and they said, listen, and I know it was an earnest tweet, right? They're like, listen, they got goalie 2 nights in a row. I'm like, if you get goalie by Montembeault and Berube, like that, like imagine an Oiler fan with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl accepting that. Imagine a Penguins fan with Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin accepting that. Ovechkin accepting. That's not that you can't. And I want to give full marks to Marner and Matthews, because they were, I thought, the best 2 players on the ice both nights.
they're great.
They're amazing.
Matthews had a couple defensive lapses there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where he should have gotten back on the puck a little quicker.
Yeah.
Certainly.
How dare the Leafs not show up for easily the most loyal fan base in the world. Easily. Oh, guys, they got goalie. Against Montembeault and Berube.
Yeah.
My God.
Now
the goalposts are made of spaghetti.
No, I don't think. Again, I think you're as a lot of people as Leaf fans, and I can understand this. When you see this sort of stuff, this is the Leafs at their worst. What we saw in the weeks preceding this, and up till December 5th, that was the Leafs at their best. What we're seeing now is the Leafs they can be comically good and comically not good. And we're seeing
the exact cutoff for good goalie, bad goalie.
Yes. So we need to. So I think there's a couple things here. Obviously, Jack Campbell runs on confidence. We know that, right? He's our boy. We love him. We love Jack Campbell. But Jack Campbell is too hard on Jack Campbell. Clearly, you could see it in the press conference.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and I think Keefe said it, and I said it in the last show when quoting him, the Leafs' strategy of defense. There's nothing wrong with it, but you have to execute it. And what they did last night was they threw Lyubushkin in, and people were like, oh, he sucks. It's like, dude, he didn't even learn the system. He just flew in that day and was like, here's a jersey. Good luck. Go play the best hockey in the world.
If there's anyone you can give a mulligan to, I think it's him.
Yeah, give him a couple weeks, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
The thing is that what I saw on 3 of 4 goals last night, and I tweeted this, is gap control, gap control, gap control. When Jesse, I think you mentioned it with Matthews in overtime. I think there was the goal in overtime, I think, was a gap control issue. I saw 3 of 4 goals last night that here's the worst place that you can be if you're defending, whether you're a forward or a defenseman, if you are on the defending side of the puck, is about a meter away from the attacking forward, because it gives them the opportunity to go left, right, or shoot right through you on a screen.
Yeah, and that's what happened on the Dermott play.
Yeah,
Dermott was caught in no man's land, and he just got screwed, and Campbell didn't make a save.
And but Dermott, if you look at that play again, he could have made the decision to go right at the player.
Yeah,
and if you get left in the dust,
even with a stick,
100%, if you get left in the dust by a player, like, because Dermott's got wheels, right? He can skate.
Sure.
If he goes at that player, and I forget who it even was, and actually just attacks the player, even if he gets out positioned afterwards, he has still thrown the player off their track, and they're not going to get a shot. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he allowed the attacker to walk into the slot because he backpedaled, and he didn't make a play on the puck. Right. It was a terrible defensive effort.
So this is where I think that I'm not that worried, because these problems that we're all talking about here, they're really fixable. This is a really fixable problem. Gap control is a fixable problem.
He took off his headphones. Anybody listening, Steve is no longer listening to Adam.
Steve, you know that's a fixable problem. You've never seen Dermott control a gap before? You've never seen Liljegren or Matthews or any of those guys?
Why are you out? Why are you out?
Travis Dermott, Adam.
It's better than a spinorama in
You want to
overtime.
go through the list of things I've seen him do?
I know, but listen, you can't tell me that somebody can't learn gap control. You can learn gap control. You can execute gap control.
No team gets more rope in the entire world than these guys. A couple goofballs throw jerseys on the ice and they have it so hard. Oh my God.
Well, I'm just saying,
like,
you can learn that's it. Like, you can clean that up. And by the way,
you could.
When they were at their most successful, they weren't doing it.
Yeah, if I had wheels, I'd be a wagon. Adam! They've had the same bodies doing the same stupid, shitty things for a very long time. And we chalked it up to baby fat. And now they're just grown adults standing in front of us doing the same things they did as babies. Mm-hmm. And Adam, that guy's not in the lineup. He's not in the lineup at their best.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, not now. I think it's Sandy and Liljegren, Muzzin, Lyubushkin.
Well, and by the way, like Hull's, that's over. We're done. Because if he wasn't in last night's lineup, okay, we have our answer. Like, they're going to ship him out the door soon, I would think. I'm not like they're scraping the bottom of the barrel for every cap dollar they can find. I don't understand the point of keeping him if he doesn't make last night's lineup. So Muzzin, like, it shows you how dependent on Muzzin he is. Mm-hmm. Muzzin gets hurt and they just take him out of the lineup entirely.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah,
I thought Sandy and Lyubushkin were together on the second pair because eventually they'll be pushed down to the third pair and they will play together.
So they're trying to get the time in for those two, right?
I think that makes sense. But they're all learnable, fixable mistakes. But this is the thing, man. Like, this is what these games are supposed to be for. Is learning to prove, and fixing. Well, it's learning and fixing, but also to prove that you use the first half of the season to hone those skills, right? To work on those things. And then February is when you're supposed to be ramping up. April is fine tuning. And then the beginning of the playoffs, it's the exam. That's the exam. So for me, it's like, I saw a skit many years ago. I think it was Ryan Gosling going bicycling in the mountains with Jimmy Kimmel. And he said, Jimmy, I'm worried about your hydration levels. Just remember, if you're thirsty, it's already too late. Now, it's a corny thing, but every time I get thirsty, I think of it. And they're discovering some hydration issues because they're parched on defense. Mm-hmm. And for some of these guys, is it already too late?
Well, I think we've seen, and I think the Leafs have shown that the attempt to get Justin Hall back on track that's done now.
I feel terrible for the guy, man.
Me too, because he's a well-liked guy. Like, I don't wish ill for Justin Hall, by the way. I'm not like trying to, but it seems like it's like, okay, we've seen 40 games of this. You know, that what else do you go with this?
Right.
What I have to tell you too, and this is not to bag on a guy who's injured, but Jake Muzzin did not look good in Montreal. Like before that hit, before the collision, Jake Muzzin, you could tell he still has the very smart hockey brain that he has, but he already has pre-existing injuries, which he said pre-game is making him worried about engaging with other players physically, which is his game. He was never a great skater. So he's afraid to play his game because he's afraid to aggravate injuries. Unfortunately, then he runs into a Montreal Canadiens player, probably a concussion, although that's not been confirmed yet. He's not on LTIR yet, but it looks that it may happen that way. And like, I don't think we see him.
I don't think we see him before the playoffs. I don't think. Well,
here's the thing. My question to you guys was, whatever's ailing him, he needs to sit. He needs to sit anyway.
Why was he out there in the first?
Why was he out there? And it's probably because they're like, holy shit, who the fuck are we going to play? Like, they didn't have Lyubushkin at that point. But it's
repeating mistakes over again. Is this not exactly Riley before the COVID shutdown?
Yeah. Yeah. So can remind people, because it's been a long time.
Well, so for 2019 and early 2020, fans were like, so Riley's just bad then.
because he
Right?
came off a 72-point season.
Yeah, and was hot garbage. And McDavid dangled him onto LTIR. It's crazy. But it just became obvious that Morgan Rielly, who is good, could not do Morgan Rielly things.
And remember, throughout that whole Morgan Rielly struggle, the coach was Mike Babcock. Like, that's what we're going back to.
Right?
Wasn't
Wow.
the head coach yet.
Stop it, Jesse. Stop
Was
it.
he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
right up until
2019
December.
December 2019 is when
at the
Sheldon Keefe
beginning.
took over.
Yeah, when Marc-Andre Fleury and
Yeah.
Nick
Right.
Petan ended his tenure.
That's right. And
Fleury,
Ilya Mikheyev with the best reaction ever.
Yeah. Babcock fired.
But now look at Rielly. You know, he
He's
took
been-
some time and looking wonderful. I don't know if Muzzin is going to be on the same trajectory. You know, there's a little bit of age difference there, but he clearly needs time. And when he took time off recently, it seems like it was for the concussion, obviously, the first one, but I think there's something else there. And also a consideration with the injury in Montreal. He had a recent concussion. But remember in the bubble, he got that stinger against the Blue
Right.
Jackets with his neck.
And
those
that's when
things
he
are,
was knocked out of the series.
yeah, those things are no joke at all. I've only ever heard of them in like professional wrestling. I know you can get them in other situations, but it's forced people into retirement.
Well, and I have to raise this. It may not be the case, but I have to raise this. There is a chance, 2 concussions this season already, probably, that we don't see Jake Muzzin play again. There's a chance. I'm
Like
not saying
ever?
I heard that from
Ever
Well,
this
yeah.
season.
Retirement.
Well, how many concussions do you need before it's like we got to start considering how my life is going to be, right?
Yeah. Well, and there's no way to predict them.
No,
Right.
and I'm just saying, get used to the idea that you don't see Jake Muzzin on the ice even in the playoffs this year.
Yeah. I'm already prepared for the rest of the regular season. And honestly, the playoffs wouldn't shock me.
Me neither.
That's
question-
not me being doom and gloom. That's just the reality of these types of injuries.
So the question then becomes, because he would probably go on LTIR. As of this recording, he's not. What do the Leafs do with that cap space? And I hate to get business about it, but that's what you got to do something about it.
No, I know you gotta wish him well first and foremost, but
Of course.
you're right. Like, the Leafs have already had these conversations, right? I
course.
would be surprised if they didn't have contingency plans.
Well,
Hey.
so Friedge brought one up, right?
Yes. So, but sorry to finish that point. Like, if I would be surprised if management wasn't like, all right, if this guy gets hurt, we can go after this guy. If
Yeah.
this guy gets hurt, we can do this. Like, I mean, in the what do you do all day conversation, I mean, that would be a good thing to add to the list of things to do. But Elliot Friedman just sort of hot potato JT Miller's name in there, and it's got all of Canada talking from coast to coast. Because that's a hell of a thing. Now, the reason JT Miller makes sense, the second line's brutal right now. It's just
Yeah.
awful.
They can't get
but-
anything going.
But Jake Muzzin's $5.5 million cap hit goes on LTIR. JT Miller, I believe, is 5.2.
Yeah, 5.25, I think. But yeah.
Right. So it's a really nice fit. There's a fit there. Then there's the things sort of on the exterior. They've already looked at trading Justin Hall. I wonder if he would be involved. They've already looked at trading Travis Dermott. I wonder if he would be involved. But the Leaf who is most frequently linked to Vancouver is Alexander Kerfoot,
Right.
because that's where he played his junior hockey. I think he's from there.
Mm-hmm.
And
And he would have value to them, right? They need to get better skating. I mean, their GM said we're a mediocre skating team with a franchise goaltender. Alex Kerfoot can skate. He can play center. He can play wing. We've seen it. He's a very good player, good penalty killer. Seems to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I wonder, does the Leafs' appetite for salary retention grow now that Nick Ritchie is off the books for next year? I don't know, but it definitely seemed like the sort of thing Friedge brought up with reason.
Right.
You know,
And
what
I know that before Travis Green was let go, there was a lot of talk about, I think it was JT Miller and Bo Horvat. not being. Was that what it was? I think there was some
on the best terms. I do remember that. Wow,
and
that feels like forever ago.
It does. And they were talking about moving JT Miller back then. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's got a couple of years left on his deal. So this would be one of those contracts where the Leafs bring him on and he's a part of the future.
Yeah, but like, if you're Kyle Dubas and you hear that, you hear 5.25 next season. I don't know how you justify that for this playoff run.
Well, I mean, he's amazing. He's a great player.
He's
a great player.
Even if Kerfoot goes out, you're taking on extra $2 million for next season when you're already up against the cap.
Hall's gone, right? Hall's contract's up.
Right. So I don't know if that's the salary in that case where you want to take it on.
I don't understand why more teams don't try. I mean, it's a lot of work, but why couldn't you acquire JT Miller? Go for a cup, just try, maybe you win, maybe you don't. And then in the offseason, you go, I can't afford him. So you trade him.
You move him again. I think
you move him again.
I think players as human beings don't want to go to don't want organizations to be doing that.
No, well, prerequisite, he needs to want to do it.
Yeah,
and we
you don't want to get a reputation around the league if you're Kyle Dubas being like, hey, if we trade for a guy and he has a contract through next year, you know what? We're going to flip him in July. Like that's a bad rap.
Doesn't hurt Vegas. They're fine.
It does hurt Vegas.
Doesn't hurt. Not really. Not really though.
100% it hurts Vegas.
Everybody still wants to sign there.
No,
maybe
now
not yet.
There's a stank in Vegas.
Dubas has a great reputation, and it's not just he hands out money. There was did you see the? Sorry, I like to cut off bad jokes at the pass. Did you see the Dubas
arguing with imaginary people?
I sure do. This from Curtis Pashelka. Ryan Dzingel credited Leafs GM Kyle Dubas for the way his situation was handled. He remained in Arizona after the trade and knew he was going to get waived. He called me and he was honest, and you don't find that a lot in this league. So Dubas has I think he's got a lot of goodwill in this league among players, honestly. So prerequisite. I think it's an interesting idea if the parties involved actually want to do that.
Yeah. I think JT Miller makes the Leafs top six pretty formidable next year. And here's the thing: the first line's working great, and I don't care about next year, to be honest with you. I think, frankly,
I do.
Kyle Dubas knows this. They have to do everything they can to win this year. This is still pretty much the best regular season team we've ever seen for the Toronto Maple Leafs thus far, ever. So you got to augment. So here's what I think. I think the two guys that are going to go, if JT Miller goes or comes in, I think that Justin Hall is going to go, and then his contract, I believe, expires at the end of this season. So it's no big deal for the Canucks. Kerfoot's a valuable player for them. Maybe they re-sign Hall, but maybe not at $2 million, the Canucks, that is. And maybe another sweetener in there because it's JT Miller and he's very good. And he's got term remaining. I don't know what that would be. But then that still gives you $5 million on the LTIR with Muzzin out. So if you bring in
Hall is signed through next year at $2 million.
Oh, he is. Okay. Well, still he's a value right shot defenseman who's 30. You're not gonna it's not gonna hurt you, I don't think.
Oh, tell that to the Leafs right now.
Yeah, yeah, man.
I don't know. Has he fallen that much? The guy that they let Jared McCann go.
Yeah.
So 20 goal scorer Jared McCann, they let him go so they can hang on to this guy.
Yes.
And you all called me crazy.
15 minutes ago, you said, "Oh, you feel bad for Hall."
I do. I think he needs a new start.
Going to take on next year's $2 million of Hall.
I think he needs a new start. I think. Listen, we've seen more of good Hall than bad Hall, have we not?
No, not this season.
Not this season, but over the course of his deal and his tenure as a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Yes,
that's very true.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying is that what I would say is the chances are he needs a change of scenery, and he will regress to the mean, which is he's probably fighting Tyler Myers for top 4 minutes in Vancouver next season, which is painful.
I don't not disagree with that. You know,
what's that?
I don't not disagree with that. That a change of scenery could be good for Hall,
right?
You don't not.
I don't not disagree with it.
Maybe. Is that him thinking really hard or frozen?
I thought he was thinking.
I
thought he was just doing a thinking face. No, he froze. That's incredible. That is incredible. We have this on camera.
We gotta leave part of that in the show.
he's
Oh,
back.
there he is.
Oh,
There
We're
he
leaving
is.
that
I was
whole thing.
talking.
We gotta
Then you guys started laughing at me. I'm like, what did I say that was that
Adam,
funny?
you were like this the whole time.
SGPN memes is gonna have a field day.
Yeah,
with that
great.
one.
That was awesome. That was
What
fantastic.
what I was saying is I think that you like it doesn't have to be Hall to Vancouver or whatever, but Kerfoot to Vancouver makes sense in a JT Miller swap. And Hall in a trade for another defenseman makes sense. But my thinking is don't use all the LTIR space on JT Miller. Try to move out one of those two guys with the JT Miller trade, and then try to move the other guy out if you can with the other defenseman trade. Because, like, listen, if you're going to pull a defenseman off a shitty team that's selling at the deadline, they're going to need a warm body who's played at the NHL level. Justin Hall is at least that.
Yes.
And he's a guy you can take a flyer on that's, whatever. So,
And you're really selling me on this.
well, I just think that you could do it. I think you could easily do it. Now, one of the things that people have been talking about, and I guess teams have been calling about, there's two players. Matthew Nyes, probably not going to happen, and Rodion Amirov, who is definitely not going to happen given today's news. So I'm not sure if you guys, I know you guys have seen this, but
Yes.
Rodion Amirov will not play the remainder of this season. He's one of the Leafs' top prospects. He has a brain tumor diagnosis. Said, I want to stay positive and I want people to think positively about me. He obviously there's concern. He said there are many people out there who have their own sicknesses or illness. I want to show by example that I can give people hope. He mentioned Brian Boyle, who received an enormous ovation in the 2018 All-Star game because of the same thing. So obviously we send our very, very best to Rodion Amirov as Leaf fans. And, I think.
Can I read Dubas's statement?
Please do. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is from Kyle Dubas this morning. I regret to inform our fans that Rodion Amirov has been diagnosed with a brain tumor. Rodion commenced the 21-22 season with I'm going to screw this up. How do you say his team?
Salavat Yulayev.
That of the KX shell, but suffered an injury to open the season. During the course of his recovery from this injury, he developed some new unrelated symptoms that required ongoing extensive investigations over the last few months. Rodion is currently undergoing treatment at a medical facility in Germany and will not return to play for the remainder of the season. Our medical staff has been involved throughout the process alongside the teams, and we are in direct contact with the facility on an ongoing basis to monitor his treatment and care. Rodion has the complete support of the Toronto Maple Leafs organization, and we will continue to ensure he receives the best care possible throughout this process. Out of respect for Rodion and his family, the club will not have any further comment at this time.
So we wish him the very best. And when we're talking about the business side of it, also means that that's not a tradable asset, right? It's one less thing. Not that I don't think Rodion or Matthew Nyes were going to be guys that the Leafs were willing to part with anyway.
They're in conversations, right?
Yeah.
And it is worthwhile to know, like, hey, no, he's kind of going through something right now, so you can don't
that
even
away.
bother. Yeah.
Right. So, I think the Leafs owe it to themselves to really go for it this year. I think there's two trades to be made. And Justin Bourne said it on the intermission show, I think yesterday. They're probably going to be the most active Canadian team in the trade deadline. I think that's, and I think you got to get another impact forward in the top six because they've tried to make Kerfoot work there. And I just don't think it's going to. I think they need somebody who's a little bit mean, like another Bunting. If you could clone Bunting and put him on both lines, that'd be super good.
Oh man.
How great has he been?
What an unreal fit.
Amazing.
What an all he's got to do, the Marner assists to Bunting yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Leave your stick on the ice and don't even look at the puck. And Marner will pass it in a way where it just glances off of your stick and into the net. It's such a good fit.
Is John Tavares being visibly upset on that second line and visibly frustrated, I'd say, and struggling over the last little bit? Is that a part of our conversations today?
I don't think it helps at all. I don't think it helps anybody
Him
at all.
Smashing his stick.
Yeah, I know we're talking about the team not looking like they care or whatever. Yes, that is showing that you care, but it's also showing you have no solutions. And that I don't think is a trend. I want to see continue from the Leafs captain. And I'm probably going to get shit for that, but I know it's a feeling around the league. And it can happen. I will say this, as an extension of the conversation. I don't have complaints about the way Leaf games have been officiated this year in general. Like, they're getting beat up more than, they beat up other teams or whatever. I mean, on most nights, I feel like the Leafs are drawing more penalties than the other team. John Tavares should be drawing more penalties than he is.
Last night, that was pretty clear.
Yes. And that's not his fault. They've decided to call the game a certain way. Maybe that's his relationship with the officials, because there's a lot of nights where I think he could probably take more penalties. Again, he's not the most fleet of foot. He gets into a lot of really intimate battles with players. And, sometimes his stick will come up, or, I wonder if, was it the shaft of the stick or did he get the gloves? But because Tavares is in so many intimate battles, if he's getting hooked and held and it's going uncalled, what's he supposed to do? That's his bread and butter, and you've taken it away from him by allowing it to be open season on him. So I don't like the way he's reacting to the adversity right now. I don't like the 10-game goalless streak, but if there was a reason for him to be frustrated, it's that you can do basically whatever you want to him, and it kind of screws his game up. That's
interesting. Yeah.
My thoughts about that.
And there's a lot of I really have a problem with this. There's a lot of takes out there that are like, well, he's not very good anymore. That's not true.
He was good 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. He can go through a bad time. He can have a rough couple weeks.
Is he not still a 1 or 2 points off of a point a game player?
46 and 48, I believe.
There you go.
Come on.
The guy's putting up 82 and 82 is not washed.
That's what he does. He puts up 82 and 82 every year. He's not going to score 47 goals every year like he did the first time, because he wasn't playing with Marner anymore, right?
Because of the money, he's held to the standard of Austin Matthews, which is just an unrealistic standard for everybody.
That's it, Steve. He has the joy of being compared to Austin Matthews for some reason. The thing is, John Tavares, no Austin Matthews in the picture. John Tavares is the best centerman the Toronto Maple Leafs have had since Matt Sundin, and before that, Doug Gilmour. That's it.
Yeah.
If there's no Austin Matthews, that's the truth. Those four have been the best centers on the team in the last 30 years. And unfortunately for John, he gets to be compared to Austin Matthews, who can seemingly score at will these days.
You're handing out a lot of disrespect to Tyler Bozak.
Sorry, Tyler. You'd be number 5 probably. Or Nas. Nas has got to be in there too.
We're at least a couple seasons away from talking about him taking a step backwards. We're at least a couple seasons away from even uttering a whisper of a trade rumor. This is a really good player in a slump, man. To me, it's not complicated at all.
The Kerfoot thing, though, on that line has always, I don't know, guys. Has that ever felt, to me, that has felt forced from the beginning?
When he looks good, I feel like when he looks good, the line clicks because there's no obvious solution for how to deal with that line. Marner and Matthews have been another level this year, but part of what's helped them go to another level is Michael Bunting's been so good that there's no clear solution.
Yeah, what's he had 10 goals in 8 games or something?
Yeah, he's ridiculous. Kerfoot, his good nights are really understated and his bad nights are invisible. I like him as a penalty killer.
Yeah,
I do, but man, that second line left wing, part of me wonders. Here's what we got, because I'm looking at moves the Leafs could potentially make, and they're all on the left up front. Kerfoot, who's your second left winger right now. Ilya Mikheyev, who's your third left winger right now, and I'll get to him. And Pierre Engvall, who's your fourth. Engvall making 1.25 is too much.
Yeah.
Mikheyev making 1.65 is fine, but then he's a UFA and you're probably not going to be able to keep him. Then there's Kerfoot.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're looking at moving all of them. I don't think all of them will be dealt, obviously. I would be surprised if it was more than one. I wouldn't be surprised if it was none. But I do think they got to take a long, hard look at that. But the problem with making a move on any of those guys is the Leafs penalty kill is a really underrated strength this year. Fantastic. Unless, the guy goes end to end. Friggin' Adam Boquist. All of those guys play on the PK.
Well, I think Kerfoot's the one you can lose on that. I think that third line's been spectacular. I wouldn't want to mess with that. Mikheyev, Kampf, Kasha. I love that line. And you've got Marner. All those guys can penalty kill to an extent. And then you got Marner who can penalty kill as well, although you don't want to use that too much. I think you got enough. So to me, Kerfoot, you can deal without him because of that third line, which has just been spectacular. What a great third line that has been, right? Just a pain in the ass to play against. Anyway, I want to run through a couple other things before we go too far here. Last night, very quickly, Spezza's goal to tie it up. Kick or not a kick, Jesse?
Not a kick.
Steve, kick or not a kick? Jesse, no, I already said Jesse. Steve,
a kick in real life, not a kick in hockey.
Yeah.
So Natalie and I got into an argument about it last night about like what's the rule? We had looked up the rule and everything. Here's where I think it's not a kick, but I also still feel like it looks like a kick.
The way the rule's been enforced this year.
So when you swing a golf club or you kick a ball, right? You follow through, right? There's the follow through. What happened with Spezza's skate is it came down and he stopped. Yeah. And then the puck hit it and redirected, and there's no follow through. And that's why I think it's not a kick. Now, does the NHL know what a kick is and it isn't? No. As I tweeted last night, it's whatever they feel like on that particular night. But I think that's why you could say that's not a kick because it stopped at the ice and then the redirection happened and there was no forward kicking motion on the follow through. I think that's the best way.
Like Spezza was trying to direct the puck to his stick.
Yes.
Like that's what's usually happening in these moments where a guy kicks a puck into a net. It's usually them because you would never kick a puck into a net because that's illegal. So you're usually redirecting the puck with your stick to your with your skate to your stick. You're trying to hit the puck from your skate to your stick, and that's what he's trying to do in that moment. And it just so happened to go right into the goal. So I don't know. It's probably not a kick.
If I recall correctly, Matthews had one called back, and he was also trying to kick the puck to his stick.
Yeah, but he was more kicking it to his stick, and the kicking motion happened to go right into the back of the net.
So here's my question. Why is there a kicking rule? Why can't you kick the puck into the net?
Because it's dangerous.
Because it's dangerous.
Because you got a knife on your foot.
Of course, and I agree. How come you're allowed to kick the puck to your stick then? From the same distance, in the same spot, limbs and veins
and your stick are like a foot apart. They're right there, so you'd never swing your skate to kind of get the puck to your.
Steve,
to your
you'd
stick.
kill the game. You'd kill the game. It'd be so boring. If you couldn't do that.
I agree. It could never work that way, but it is silly. It's very silly. Like it's there for safety, but you're still allowed to do it.
It's silly because the rule isn't defined.
Right.
Like it's silly because it's complicated.
For as silly and complicated as it is, I will say the NHL has at very least been consistent in its enforcement this year. And the way they've been consistent is they're just allowing almost all of them.
Yeah. Loosey-goosey.
Yeah. I mean,
it's kind of been a goal.
Yeah. If you're Columbus, or a fan who was there last night, I mean, they were pretty vocal about it. Of course it's a kick, but guys, the way it's been enforced this year, not a chance. That's a goal.
Right.
Sorry, there was a comma there. No chance. That's a goal. No chance. That's a goal.
Roses are red, violets are blue. This script is for Valentine's Day, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't shave you.
No.
You don't like it?
It's a mouthful, and like I just don't know.
Okay, well, Manscaped.com. It's post-Valentine's Day, but the script still says Valentine's Day. Manscaped.com. Use that promo code DANGLE for 20% off and free shipping. Steve, have I ever told you about the number one product package in male landscaping?
But you did tell me about the special cinnamon-flavored Manscaped products for Valentine's Day. So, Adam, go ahead and talk about those.
There is not
Let's
that.
not make up products.
The number
don't
one
have
product
those.
in this
Sponsors
package.
love when you make up products.
Let's not make up products.
Learn marketing.
The Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped is just the thing every guy needs in their life to make each and every day a little more special. The number one product in this package is the Lawnmower 4.0 electric trimmer, designed to trim hair on loose skin. And get this, the trimmer's advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks on your delicate balls. It even has a 4,000K LED spotlight, so you can shave your balls from anywhere and any light too. If the light goes out at your house and the generator doesn't come on, don't worry, you'll still have the flashlight.
Oh, my God.
Think about it. Get 20% off with free shipping. Use the code DANGLE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code DANGLE. Join Cupid and shoot your arrow through Manscaped, even though it's past Valentine's Day. What did you eat every day before going to school when you were a kid?
Cereal.
And what was it loaded with?
Cereal.
And no, what was the cereal loaded with?
Sugar.
Yeah,
Probably.
and carbs and bad stuff, right?
Yeah, my parents didn't really let me do that because I was too hyper.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I had sugar-coated cereal,
That
and I
makes
miss
sense.
it. But here's the thing. You grow up and you realize that you want to cut down on carbs and sugar and unhealthy food, and you can't eat that stuff anymore, and I get heartburn, and I can't eat it.
You got heartburn?
I
From
do.
cereal?
Yeah, I get heartburn from too much sugar. Yeah, it's terrible. That's why I go to Magic Spoon, guys. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. Only 140 calories in each serving. And let's say this. If you're keto, if you're gluten-free, if you're grain-free, if you're soy-free, if you're low-carb, got you covered at Magic Spoon. Can I run you through some of the flavors?
Sure.
Cocoa, fruity frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and maple waffle.
So it's good even if you don't get heartburn from cereal.
Something like that.
Cereal giving you heartburn.
It's too much sugar.
It's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Cereal's too spicy for Adam.
MagicSpoon.com/SDP to grab a custom bundle of cereal today. Be sure to use that promo code SDP at checkout to save $5 off.
Hey, moving on from the Leafs here. Sean Avery has signed with the Orlando Solar Bears,
Yeah, what the hell?
What?
New York Rangers system.
Like Sean Avery?
Sean Avery.
Yeah.
Not just another guy with the same name?
No,
he's 41.
41
Yeah,
years
that's
old.
what I was about to ask. That was my next
ECHL.
question. He was just on a panel. Like, what?
Yeah.
It's been 10 years since he played a professional game. There are no quotes out there as to why this is going on, but I know that there have been rumors about him having a potential comeback to hockey for a while. So, I mean, you know what the thing about Sean Avery? It's like he just decides to do stuff and then he does it. He's like, I'm going to play hockey. I'm going to be an NHL player now. And now I feel like interning at Vogue. And that's what I'm going to do.
Tim Tebow playing baseball and then trying out again for another NFL team. And then Tim Tebow being a host on ABC. This is just a guy who likes to try things and do things doing things.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay, think about it this way. The Orlando Solar Bears have one of the coolest jerseys in hockey.
Yeah.
He probably thought about buying one. And he thought, no, I'll get them to pay me. And he can play like, a game. And he'll get his jersey and that'll be fun. That's
You know
it.
Sean Avery was in Tenet?
Oh, yeah, he's been an actor
Yeah.
a bunch of times.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Are you on like his IMDb page or something?
I was reading because I didn't know this was a story. I was just pulling up the article that Wyshynski wrote, and he closes the article by writing, after retiring, Avery began his acting career appearing as Red Soldier 1 in the Christopher Nolan film Tenet.
Tenet, Patriots Day, Mile 22. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Oh, that's an ad.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in a
Although-
TV series called Kevin Can Fuck Himself.
Oh,
That's true.
sounds like Sean would say. Sean would
Yes.
say that.
Yeah.
Jack Eichel is playing hockey and scoring goals, guys.
I'm glad something finally went right for the Vegas Golden Knights.
He had a rough start. Did you see his first game back a couple weeks ago?
I
No,
mean-
I missed it.
He took 2 penalties because it was just he was too amped up. You know, it's kind of like those penalties. He was just going a little too hard that game. It was like a -4. It wasn't a great game, but now he's kind of settled into a groove. He has a game-winning goal, I think. A couple of those.
He's a point a game.
Point a game. There you go. Jack
3 and 3
back is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, he's got enough runway. Playoffs start in May, right? This year, May 2nd, I believe.
Something like that. Yeah.
He's got enough runway to get it back. A couple of weeks, he's already sort of finding his groove, point a game player. Man, if Stone and Pacioretty come back healthy enough, that Pacific Division, everybody's talking about the Flames right now. I get it. But also the Flames are in the worst division in hockey. And they're taking advantage of a Vegas team that is super injured. And if Vegas comes back to full strength, I can't wait for the Vegas-Calgary inevitable matchup. I don't know who I would pick, but I think it's important that it's Vegas and Calgary. Sorry, Edmonton, but it's Vegas, Calgary, and everybody else. I want to see that. I really want to see that.
The dynamic of the Flames winning that division is really interesting. Because they're obviously getting wild card opponents. But if you're Vegas now as the number 2 seed, even with injuries and everything, playoffs start today. They play the Oilers.
Oh,
who we like there?
Injected into my veins.
McDavid versus Eichel in the playoffs.
McEichel.
I take Vegas. Okay. Well, what if the Oilers get passed by the next closest Pacific Division team? Well, that's LA.
Are they even a wild card right now?
They're in the last one in the West. Okay. Well, I prefer Vegas there. Okay. What about the Ducks? I like Vegas there as well. So the concern I had, in the Vegas versus Calgary debate is even if everyone comes back for the beginning of the playoffs, Vegas is going to get no time to play together. This gives them a little bit of time to play together as a unit. Ideally win if you're them. And then in the second round, you get to deal with the inevitable, which is a collision course with God. That's going to be a really good series if it happens, man.
Let's also not forget that Vegas needs goaltending help. Like they've been running with Laurent Brossoit. Brossoit as Adam. That was the line.
Too bad they didn't pick up Carter Hutton for future considerations. Got him, Vegas.
Leonard's been out for a little bit here. I think last time he played was beginning of February. But Leonard has a nagging injury, hasn't been himself. Save percentage is in the low 900s. So they need some help here. And hopefully if they get healthy, Leonard, by the end of the year, it'll be nice. But they might make some moves here at the deadline and just go all out.
Question about that. What if you hadn't moved your Vezina winning goaltender for nothing?
They probably should have stuck with Fleury.
I mean, maybe they don't have Jack Eichel now because they wouldn't have been able to afford the cap space. But cap space in Vegas isn't real. No. So, okay, and I know that I do a show with Alan Walsh. I know that. I know. But before I did a show with Alan Walsh, we were all saying, why are they giving this guy up for nothing? Why are they sewering this guy? You won the Vezina.
This is how ridiculously, So for anyone who is still confused about, the Nick Ritchie trade and is 2.5 million really worth a second round pick? Well, you're about to get a crash course in that. Marc-Andre Fleury was traded for nothing. And within the next month, he's going to be traded for, I don't know, probably like a first and a prospect.
Yeah.
Something like that, because I don't know, 3 million is less than 7. And that's roughly around what he'll have left on this season, or 2.5, whatever it ends up being. The reason Marc-Andre Fleury was traded for nothing is no one could take it.
Yeah.
And the reason they went with Leonard over Fleury is because they wanted to go with the younger guy who signed for the next 4 years at $5 million.
And now they're already looking for
regretting it. Yeah.
They're already. Is there a less patient team in the entire league? Like they make decisions, commit to them, and throw them out the window.
Yeah,
Is this not how you want all pro sports teams to be run? Like they're trying to win every single year they want a Stanley Cup. Isn't this what we want out of our teams?
but they
Sure.
sometimes they throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like you had two good goalies. You needed a center. They got their center with Jack Eichel, right? They really did. They needed the center, but like I feel like they could have maybe examined the way that they. It's not just that they fired Marc-Andre Fleury into the sun after his best season. It's that they did it and said, we don't like you anyway. It was just this thing. Like just like the entire season that he won, like when he was playing in Vegas, the entire season, it was like you knew at the end he was leaving. And it's because Vegas's management was like, we don't like you anymore. And so, no, I don't think that that's the way that I want my management team dealing with players. I don't want that. You're talking about the nicest person in the league, and they're like, fuck you and your Vezina.
Right. I meant with the philosophy of we want to win a Stanley Cup every single
100% with you on that.
We just saw I almost called them the St. Louis, the Los Angeles Rams win the Super Bowl because they sold every draft book they could ever sell for every single player that could help them try and win a Super Bowl. And it worked out. They did everything just to try and win this one season. And it was their ultimate goal for a year. And that's how I want to see teams who are trying to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like just go for it if you're going to go for it, but not at the expense of treating people shitty. Like that's the caveat. You know,
You
you
don't
got
need
to
to
have
be like
some
that.
respect for players as human beings and don't treat them shitty like it's NHL 22.
Well,
and I'm GMing the team.
I just want to congratulate Alan Walsh for doing something I've never seen before. A ventriloquist with a puppet on each hand. I'm joking.
Anytime, it's so funny, man. Anytime I talk about anything labor relations,
Where'd you get that?
Or luxury tax, that's exactly it. It's like, well, you have to say what Walsh wants, otherwise you won't be on. No, I don't. I can disagree with Alan. It's fine. But I do believe in luxury tax. And I don't think that the way the Vegas Golden Knights handled Fleury and getting nothing for him was the right thing. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. I'm objectively not wrong.
Hey, this is my favorite game.
What is it?
Name the guy who was traded for Fleury.
Ooh, got it. Some Chicago person. I don't know. No, it's future considerations, right?
Mikhail Hakkarainen.
Cool. My favorite guy.
Yeah.
Yep. What a guy. What a guy.
Hey guys. Okay. So quickly on a couple of last things here before we get to something in the press conference. Zedeno Chara's return to the Islanders has not gone as hoped. And it's not because he's played poorly or whatever. He wasn't supposed to be a major piece of that pie, but
because they've all played poorly.
That the team has just not done well, right? And it's not on Zedeno Chara. If you're Lou Lamoriello, and you're probably looking at this as Zdeno's last year, and I want it from two perspectives here. Do you trade Zedeno Chara if you're Lou Lamoriello?
Yes.
If you're if you're Zedeno Chara, do you want to be traded?
Yes. As a family man, no. As a competitor, yes. So that's a question for him.
So he probably doesn't cost too much. But what is Zedeno Chara bringing to your team if you're going to the Stanley Cup playoffs? What's the role he plays at this point in his career?
Battering ram. Fly swatter. Ref massager.
Leafs can use that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, he fits a lot of the criteria, dude. He's
not playing too well. That's the thing. Does anybody want Chara? Because he hasn't been a NHL ready defenseman this season.
How many of the best teams have a spot for him? You know? Okay, here's a question. And I'm a Leaf fan, and I'm asking this question. Do the Leafs not have a spot for him?
The Leafs have a spot for him at this point.
Come on now.
Yeah, they do.
Come on now. Travis Dermott was third pair last night on the left side. Come on now. Come on now. You still got to improve.
He's not the only guy you get, but get him.
Yeah. If you don't improve in the top four, it's a moot point. But you're telling me that wouldn't be fun as hell? I'm enamored with the idea of Chara. Like, I still, believe it or not, everybody, I picture what it's going to be like when the Leafs finally win it.
Okay.
And I find a way to convince myself every year that this is the year and here's the story that will be told. Chara becoming a Leaf and winning it here would be such a great bookend to his story, because he came up getting his lunch handed to him in the playoffs by the Leafs.
Yeah, when he was in Ottawa.
Yep. You're charged with shutting down Matt Sundin, and the Leafs would win anyway. Later in his career, he becomes a Boston Bruin. He signed one of the first big deals of the cap era. He signed $7.5 million long-term when the cap was like, I don't know, $50 million. It was a lot of money. And I remember laughing at that. That's going to be such a disaster. And he ends up winning a cup in 2011. 2 other trips to the Stanley Cup final since then. And he's one of the more revered leaders in the NHL and one of the best defenders in the NHL over his entire career, torturing the Leafs in the process, absolutely torturing them. What if this is how it all ends? That's all I'm saying.
I like that.
What if this is how it all ends?
I like that
it's
a lot.
Fantastic story. It's such a fantastic story. Any story that involves the Leafs winning the Stanley Cup will be the story that I want to hear. But that story in particular would be a dream.
Very quickly on Carey Price, the Habs will give an injury update or I guess a health update on Carey Price on Friday. I also want to mention this, and this was a big, actually, there's one more thing. The Calgary Flames have hired former GM of the Ducks, Bob Murray, today as a scout. That just broke before the show. So Bob Murray, who was fired for, I believe he was fired because there was reports on the NHL's got a hotline for abuse, and they somebody called that in. And he was fired for that, for creating a culture of that. He then went to rehab, from what I understand. And we have not had an update since, but Bob Murray is back in the NHL with the Calgary Flames as a scout at the moment. And lastly, and I thought this was an important thing to mention because it's been so long. This event feels like it was 2 years ago. But you remember the Ukrainian Hockey League, Andrei Deniskin with the racial gesture? Yeah, they finally suspended him. The IHF finally suspended him for an entire year. So that came down yesterday as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because they were like in deliberations making a decision.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, just thought we should mention that. Basically, yeah, they're saying that that's going to be the punishment for that. And by the way, better than I thought it would be, to be honest. I thought I did not think that the AAHF was going to suspend anybody for that. I don't know that they've taken it as seriously as they should in the past. So it's nice to see. And hopefully Jalen Simarek, who was the player, who had the racial gesture thrown towards him, is doing all right. I also, I wish with these suspensions, and I don't know how much oversight the AAHF has, is there not any sort of sensitivity training that should go into this as well? Like, and I don't know why you call it sensitivity training. It's how to not be a racist asshole training.
It seems
that should be
pointless.
the actual term for it.
It seems pointless without it.
Yeah, like what you could just go home and stew about it. But anyway,
I know with the NHL suspensions on these fronts, even the AHL ones, they have to go through.
They do
those things for the NHLPA on that level. But it's such a weird situation because it's with international hockey and the AAHF.
And maybe he does. I just haven't found anything on it yet. Haven't been able to see anything.
Jalen Smerek, by the way, just to follow up on him, in 30 games with the Bietigheim Steelers in the DEL, he has 24 points in 30 games. Fifth on team scoring, despite the fact that he missed a lot of time.
Incredible.
So he ended up he's having a pretty good let's say second half to the year on in the German league.
Right.
Glad he can continue his career and be successful.
Yeah.
Right.
Very good to hear.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve and Jesse. No. Do you like to eat?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you like to get farm fresh, pre-proportioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep?
Yeah.
Do
you like to skip steps from the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make cooking fast, fun, and affordable?
Skip steps to my loo.
That's right. America's #1 meal kit is HelloFresh, and you need to get it. HelloFresh delivers pre-portioned ingredients to your door. Farm fresh produce arriving within the week, every week, so you can have convenience without skipping out on quality. Skip the trip to the grocery store. Save those long wait times in line. You don't need that anymore.
No.
You need HelloFresh. Now, here's what you need to do. Go to HelloFresh.com/SDP16 and you use the code what, Steve?
It's not goodbye rotten.
SDP16. That's right. For you to get 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. Again, it's the promo code
SDP16.
Thank you.
Did I do good?
Yes. HelloFresh.com/SDP16. Enjoy America's #1 meal kit. It's a new year, but if it's feeling harder than ever to find and hire qualified people that you need for your small business, LinkedIn Jobs is where you need to go. They make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. So you can create your free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs and reach a network of over 770 million people. That's kind of a big network.
It blew your mind. I heard
did.
it in real time.
I did. Focus on candidates with the right job skills and experience and use screening questions. Like what? Give me a screening question, Steve.
What's your name?
There you go.
That's a good one.
And
I hope you ask everybody.
Get your role in front of the most qualified people, like people who can name themselves. Then you can use simple tools that LinkedIn Jobs actually has, which are a lot deeper than what Steve expressed there, to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs at #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Did you, Steve?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
No.
no, it's good. That's
Imagine
good.
if I knew that. That'd be so good.
What's the promo code, Jesse?
SDP.
SDP. So you post your jobs for free at linkedin.com/SDP. That's linkedin.com/SDP to post your job for free. It even rhymes. Terms and conditions apply. Hey, are you thinking about upgrading your vehicle in 2022?
Oh, I've thought about it, but how do I make it a reality?
Edmunds is how you make it a reality.
Yes.
Let's say you want to upgrade to a truck, like I did a couple of years ago.
Man.
And now you park your truck on the sidewalk.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I walked up to Adam's house today and I saw his truck. The back wheel was right on the sidewalk.
You don't know how to park?
I know how to park. But when you have a truck, you need to park harder.
Yeah.
That's right.
Fair.
And you can find one on Edmunds. Car shopping can already be confusing and a stressful process. Just ask Steve when he tried to buy his last Mazda. In 2022, finding the right car will be even trickier due to inventory shortages. You know this. So Edmunds goes the extra mile to make car buying easier for shoppers like you. With honest car reviews, video test drives, online shopping tools, and the latest in consumer advice. Over 50 years of trusted car research, shopping advice, and price guidances all in one place. You want to go to Edmunds.com. That's EDMUNDS.com. Edmunds, we drive it like it is.
Okay. So, Jesse, you got something that you've been holding back for Steve. This is a
I
little
did.
surprise.
Yeah. A listener named Christine McAvoy.
Yes.
Yes. Was down at a conference and she ran into someone. The conference was in Vancouver. They wanted to say hi to you, Steve. So she got them to record a little video, and then she asked me if I could play on the show, and I said yes. This person really wants to say hi to Steve, so we should definitely do it, and we'll play it on the show.
Okay.
Do you want to hear from this person? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Have any guesses?
How are you
Any
going to
guess-
show me?
I'm going to play it right here.
You're going to see it.
I can do anything.
Oh, my God.
So do you have any guesses?
No. I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's why I'm racking my brain. Thomas
I'm
Drance.
excited. I'm excited.
It's Thomas Drance.
It's not Thomas Trans.
Well, thanks for blowing the surprise, Adam.
All right. I'm gonna bring them into the show. They're gonna deliver their message, and then I'll be back.
Live or recorded?
Recording.
Right now on the show. Okay.
Hey! Ah! Oh my God. That's amazing. Even though his face is still. Oh my God.
How you doing, boy? That's right, Steve Dangle. This is a special message just for you. You know why? Why? Because you're all right, boy. Look at that handsome fella right there. Now, I know what you're thinking, Steve. How did Arthur Morgan get so handsome in real life? Well, I can't go into that right now, but I insist that you have a fantastic 2022. Go Maple Leafs. Yeah, that's right. Go and give Iggy a good old scratch behind the ears for me.
I will.
And whatever happens, I want you to know you're all right. Because you, sir, are officially awesome. That's what I reckon anyways. And anyone who says any different, they must be one of these Pinkertons or O'Driscolls or what have you. Anyway, Steve, nice to meet you. Come on over to Fan Expo next time. Save your friends having to do it for you, you lazy bugger. I'm only needling you. Anyways, Outlaws for life. Here you're a massive fan. Thank you so much. Keep on loving each other, and you'll be all right. Well, hey there, man.
How great is that?
That's so good. Roger Clark, the voice and actor of Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2. That was so nice.
So
Can you please send me that immediately?
Thank you, Christine, for for asking him to record that video. She said he was at the conference and she just went up to him and was like, hey, can you do this message for my friend? And he was like, yes, I will. And that was it.
Pretty cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pretty cool.
Oh my God.
It's interesting that he's got a Scottish accent too. Because he's
from Ireland. He's Irish.
Oh, sorry, Ireland.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. They asked a historian once, what's the most historically inaccurate part of any Western? Right. So like the movies, Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Redemption 2, anything Western related, and like old West. And the guy said, well, it's the accents. The accents would never have been like that. And people are like, what are you talking about? He's like, all of them had Irish and Scottish accents. Basically all of them. He said all the people that were in the West were like, a lot of them were new immigrants, and they had like most of the people you would have run into had thick Irish or Scottish accents. Oh, wow. In the Old West, which I thought is kind of cool, right? So the boy thing, that's probably, that didn't come around until later.
So that was something. So Red Dead Redemption 2 takes place in 1899. And that is something that they sort of addressed. Like there's a family who, without spoiling it too much, there's a family that takes great pride in their Scottish heritage. And you later find out that it might not actually be true. And basically your main rival gang is a bunch of Irish guys. And there's
O'Driscoll.
You know what you also encounter is some of those new ones, those untrustworthy Europeans, the Italians, Angelo Bronte, things of that nature.
So, Steve, we got to ask the question.
Yes.
When are you going to stream Red Dead on our Twitch channel?
Yeah, come on, Steve.
Arthur Morgan delivered a message to you, and you won't stream his damn game.
I won't. No, that moved it up. I'm so jacked right now. That moved it up.
You watch the video. You look like a little kid.
I am. I have to do it now. In typical bad guy fashion, Dutch Vanderland.
Yep.
What is that?
One of the antagonists of the Red Dead Redemption series, but Arthur Morgan's mentor.
Oh.
His actor, real life.
Yeah.
Boston Bruins fan.
Boo.
Boo.
Yeah, I can't like that guy.
When I pulled up the video, I was shocked you recognized his face. Like I didn't know how much you knew about the actor, the voice actor. You know?
All of it. I know.
All of it, yeah. Now I know how much of a hardcore fan you are.
I know all of it. I know
everything.
absolutely. Like this is the thing. When I don't know I don't know how many people are going to stick with the series once I start it.
Everyone. Shut up,
Steve.
Like,
What is everyone expected to be? Me
Steve.
answering hockey questions while playing Red Dead?
No.
Because
It
I'm
has
going to want
nothing
to
to
talk
do with
about
hockey.
Red Dead.
Yeah,
No,
there's
no
hockey.
No hockey.
If you talk about hockey, we'll ban you.
Yeah.
You know, like it just should be all red.
Okay. Like, okay, let's maybe too much.
No.
Steve, if you talk about hockey, I will dox you.
Wow.
Don't say that. Don't.
Wow.
Okay. So
Damn.
I'm kidding.
Here, I'm trying to look at the Leaf schedule right now.
you have too many platforms where you talk hockey. That's
you
all
don't-
you do with your entire
So
life.
Jesse, you're doing a stream Friday, eh?
No, there's no stream this Friday.
Maybe there should be.
Maybe Steve Dangle should do a stream.
Maybe it should.
All right, let's do the press conference.
The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
First question in the press conference.
He said, "You sir are a fish." Sorry.
He said that to you.
He said that to me.
This question comes from Roderick on our Discord. If you're not a member of our Discord, join our Discord. Head to sdpn.ca for the link. How would you feel if the buzzer beater system in the NBA was implemented into the NHL? I was thinking when the clock reaches 0, the puck has to be off of the player's stick and no other offensive players can touch the puck as it goes towards the net. If the puck goes into the net, the goal is counted. What are your thoughts?
I've wondered about this, and I think it's nearly impossible to enforce.
Yeah.
You know, especially like in one of those mad scrambles. Like we had a hard enough time. Like, did we ever get a concrete angle that the puck never hit Spezza's stick yesterday? No. You know what I mean?
Not really.
That's exactly the sort of thing. So imagine that review then, if you're reviewing whether or not it's a kicking motion and you're not sure it hit his stick. So what if it hit his foot before there's
shot clock
0.1
expired.
seconds left.
Yeah.
But then he hits it with his stick after. What does that count as? What if it's hit twice by the same player? One's before the buzzer, one's after. What's wrong with the way we got it now? Like, of all the dumb things that I would like to see changed about hockey, this isn't one of them.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, let's not add more complications to hockey.
No.
It's a complicated game already.
Yeah.
All right. This is from Backawind, a Montreal Canadiens fan, because you can identify what team you are a fan of on our Discord if you like that sort of thing. You can do it in your username. It's a lot of fun. Join our Discord. I've seen a lot of takes of people say player A or player B deserve to win or be nominated for the Selke. Should a player be nominated for the Selke if they don't actively play on the penalty kill? Should that be a requirement for a Selke trophy?
Well, I think there's a lot more to defense than just the penalty kill.
Yeah.
Majority of the game is without the penalty kill. It helps to be on it, helps to be used on it. But like, I don't think it should have to be a requirement.
It's hard to, because at the end of the day, you're talking about the best one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The best one. And I was a big part of that Kadri for Selke conversation a few years ago.
That was fun.
But at the end of the day, I mean, he was a 5-on-5 shutdown center who scored a lot and didn't play in the penalty kill.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So like that was a sticking point of Steve Simmons. And I mean, there's an element of truth there. Like, I think he was talking about Erik Karlsson and the Norris Trophy, and like, we're really about to give the Norris Trophy to a defender who doesn't play on the penalty kill. Like, it does. I mean, he was so good for a time where I don't know if it mattered,
Right.
but I think it's very difficult for a forward to be so good at being a defensive center, but not on the penalty kill. You know what I mean? So good that you're the best at it and you don't play on the penalty kill at all.
Yeah. I think tiebreaker, it goes to the person who plays the penalty kill. Is that fair?
Yeah. So we have been talking about, well, when does Matthews enter this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Then That's why I don't know if he'll really be part of this conversation until he plays regularly on the penalty kill, which maybe never.
When Taze was at his peak, was he playing on the penalty kill?
I believe he was. I know Bergeron was.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because they are, two of the best defensive centers that right there that we've seen in the last 20 years, right? Bergeron and Taze.
Yeah, those two, and Kessler.
Yeah. So I know, be interested. That's an interesting question. I think I think because the majority of the game is 5-on-5, you have to weight it that way. But if one plays the penalty kill, the other does not, then tie goes to that.
Unpopular opinion. Marner deserves more Selke votes than Matthews.
I don't know. I think it's a harder position to play center.
Yes.
I think it's much harder, and it requires
maybe they're
a lot
tied.
More. Okay, I could grant you that. Maybe he deserves. Maybe the sentence ends at Marner deserves more Selke votes than he's getting. Like maybe it's just not maybe more than Matthews, just maybe more. Because center to me is always going to be the toughest position to play in the game.
I'll say what I said basically all year last year. The criticism overcorrection of Mitch Marner has gotten out of control. And then he had 3 bad games against Montreal, and we're right back where we started last year. He doesn't get enough respect.
Yep. By the way, goaltending is the hardest part, but I'm talking about players. Anyway, I just didn't want someone in the comments be like, I did it to goalie. Okay. Last question.
You mentioned Erik Karlsson. He had forearm surgery in January, and then just this week they updated that he was supposed to be back like mid-March, and I think they just updated this week that he may be coming back sooner. But there's another season that's been derailed by injuries for Erik Karlsson. It's been a whirlwind of a career since he's moved over from Ottawa to San Jose. Like I know one of the seasons was a lockout, their pandemic shortened season, but he hasn't played more than 56 games in a year since joining the Sharks. And like, that's going to keep up with the amount of time he's missed from January to now for this season. So there's a guy you feel for just for injuries and the career he could have had if everything went healthy.
And they're going to be pretty active, man. They're like, he didn't come to San Jose for a rebuild, and I got news for you. Yeah, I got news for you. There's going to be guys available. One of them being Alexander Barabanov.
Cool.
Having a wicked season.
How does that make you feel?
Awful. Just awful.
All right, last question. Anything?
I got one more.
One more
up here. This one is from. Okay, this was a little aggressive. Actually, I'll skip this one. I'll skip that one. I'll do as the last question. I'll do this one from Good One Randy. They asked, recently mentioned as a long shot target on the Leafs report, what does a Seattle-Toronto trade look like for Adam Larsson?
Adam Larsson. That's not the name I thought you were going to say.
Who did you think, Steve?
Mark Giordano.
Are you hearing something that?
No,
I think Calgary's going to go after Giordano again. Just a hunch.
Yo, that'd be amazing.
That'd be a great story, right?
That would be a fantastic story. Okay, now I'm sort of cheering for that.
The question, though.
Yeah, sorry. That I wasn't too into the Leafs. Well, no, sorry. The question was about Adam Larsson. I was going to go off on Giordano. Very like me. Listen, Larsson. So I'm looking at it right now. He's got 4 years left. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he's got 3 years left after this season. $4 million per.
Oh yeah.
That ain't bad. It's not that bad. Is it good for him? We know Seattle just wants futures. They want futures and cap space.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a fit there, man.
No, I won't even give you a trade. It's no fit.
Is it possible Seattle thought they were going to be better than they are, and they would like a mulligan on that deal, and they just want to get out from underneath it, and there's a potential something there.
What number do you take Larsson at?
I'll take him at 50%.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah,
I take him at his number. I take him at 4 with the Leafs have on the.
What
if they have to give up like nothing? What if Seattle's like a fifth? You know?
No, it'd be more than that.
No, but what if it's a situation where it's like it's minimal?
Call Arizona. I think that contract's brutal, guys.
Yeah.
It's a brutal contract.
Is there
Good
a
player.
potential?
Good player. Good player.
You know, good player. You go for the whole season just to win one round of playoffs. That's all they got to do.
That's all they got to do.
If Adam Larsson for a third round pick, what gives me one playoff round win
in 2027, because we're doing that now. Yeah,
Man.
I mean, here's the thing. Then you got Adam Larsson for a lot longer, and there was issues with skating before. Now I know he had a great season in Edmonton last year. I don't honestly know how he's done in Seattle this year. I just know the team's not been very good.
Their goaltending shambolic.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, the thing is that, like, if I'm going to take a flyer on somebody, I am concerned. You've already got Jake Muzzin, not fleet of foot and injured. I believe Larsson's had some injuries as well. I mean,
Yes.
who does it at that age?
Right.
I mean, you could LTIR anybody, right? You're the Leafs, but it's just, I don't know. That's a lot of years.
There's probably better ways you can spend your money.
Yes. And if you're not, I mean, listen, even if it's future considerations, I would be like, listen, you gotta hold back some money on that. And they're not going to do that. Right.
Yeah.
It's too long.
There could be a match there if the Leafs are able to move money out the door during that trade.
Yeah, I can see that. Like if Hall goes the other way and something, I don't know.
Like this isn't a like a major Hall sort of deal
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about for Seattle. Like either you guys want this or you don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe they don't want it anymore.
I'll throw this out there. According to just a few minutes ago, Rick Dollywall from Donnie and Dolly, who is my favorite Vancouver Canucks show. I love Sick Harrison Price as well. They got some great shows out there, by the way. Just
They
killing
do.
it. Unbelievable. So both shows are great. This one comes from Dolly and Donnie. The Leafs might have some money to work with if they put Muzzin on LTIR. No surprise that the Leafs called yesterday to check in on JT Miller. So they did call the Canucks. Luke Shen was checked on as well. Timothy Liljegren is the player the Canucks would be most interested in.
Oh, man. Oh,
pain. Anyway, we'll leave you with that. Okay. So we will see you Friday, remote broadcast Friday, then back in the studio on Monday. Everybody stay safe and healthy, and go Leafs go. Leafs play next is tomorrow night, right?
Thursday. They got Minnesota. I am excited for everybody to see the best player in the NHL playing right now, Kevin Fiala. Hottest player in the NHL. No lie. Don't laugh at me. Go check the numbers. Kevin Fiala on fire. And I'm excited for the Toronto media to finally see that third line. I think they're the third line still of the Minnesota Wild work their magic. And hopefully Fiala puts up a couple points to prove me right.
So somewhere Paul Fenton is going, that was my guy. If only I hadn't run such a ridiculous regime. Anyway, love you guys. See you Friday. Anything else to add before we go?
Knoxy and Cax tomorrow. We'll set it as a premiere, maybe even on YouTube. You can watch it with everybody else at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Cassie, Campbell-Pascall.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.